Welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone had a good 3-day weekend. I hope everybody had a great first week of school. I know the first week can seem a little long. We're getting into the routines and things, but it was a great start from my end. We started off the fall sports seasons with some victories, so things are going well. This week we're talking about our core values. This is continuing our look at self-awareness. But for my money, it starts to get into self-management as well. Last week, we were talking about our stories, about the significant events in our life, and how those things impact the way that we think, the way we feel, the things we believe. And that's what we're focused on now. What are your beliefs? Because that's who you really are. None of us are the clothes we wear, the cars we drive, the houses we live in. We put a lot of emphasis on those things sometimes, but that's not who we really are down deep. We're also not our grades, we're not our accomplishments in sports or other extracurricular things. Those things are all great. Those things are certainly a part of who we are, our interests, our hobbies, our strengths, all of those things are a big part of who we are. But really, I think it's important to get to the center of things. I try to do that, simplify things down to their essence. And I think at our essence, we are our core beliefs. I talk about this a lot. I've shown it many different times. We've talked about it in character and leadership this last week and in my 6th grade MTSS, but the golden circle, the idea of what, how, and why. And any successful organization, any successful team is clear about their why. That's the driving force at the middle. Most organizations, most teams, most people have an idea of what they're doing. But too many don't get past that. Even in our daily lives, a lot of times we don't get past that surface level of what am I doing? What do I have to do today? What are all the things I have to cross off my list? If we're willing to get a little deeper, we get to how. Well, how do I do those things? Am I approaching those things with enthusiasm? Am I giving them my best effort? And it's really difficult to get to the why. But if you can do that, if we can say, this is why I do these things, this is who I'm about, then we start to dictate in our lives instead of just letting life happen to us. And it's important, if you want to establish your why, be clear about your core values. I think our core values should be something that we should be able to easily list off and describe to someone. It's easy for us to maybe identify things that we're interested in, things that we like, but those things are very surface level. If someone came up and asked, what are your core values, we might have a difficult time answering that. But I think that's the essential question, because that is who we are. I also think it's good to come up with a list of a few umbrella ideas, tie them together. You don't want a long list of things. There's certainly a lot of characteristics and attributes that we can find important, values that we can find important, but we want it to be something that we can reflect on over and over again. So I break mine into a list of 5 things. So I use this: courage, integrity, respect, love, empathy. That's how I identify my core values. And I fit a lot of things into those slots, but I try to think about how they impact each other too. Like for me, courage has to be the first one, because we can't accomplish anything without courage. We can't live out our values without courage, because it takes courage to not be concerned about maybe what other people think when we're living out our values, about trying to be the best version of ourselves regardless of opposition or obstacles. That takes courage. Life takes courage. It takes courage every day. So if you have that courage, then for me, I can start to live out those other values. And the next one is integrity. And integrity is important to me because I like those first two values to be things that are all on me. It's up to me to act courageously. It's up to me to have integrity. And those things are sort of sacred things that I need to keep safe from the outside world. I need to keep safe from the noise of our busy lives. And integrity means doing the right thing, acting compassionately, and doing those things even when it's not convenient, especially when it's not convenient. I think if I can try to embody those two things, then I can move on to the next ones. And the next three on my list I think of are ones that are more relational. The third thing being respect. And that starts with self-respect. If I can live with courage and integrity, then I feel like I can respect myself. That even if things go wrong and I make mistakes, which I make a million mistakes every day, but I can at least look myself in the mirror and feel good about myself, or feel at least okay about myself. That I tried to live those first two values. Then that builds some self-respect. And when we develop self-respect, then we can share that respect with others. We can form relationships that are built on respect. We can treat other people with dignity even when we disagree. And we can really admire people who share respect with us. And then from respect, we can move to love. And for me, that's what life is all about. It's finding the things you love, surrounding yourself with the people you love, doing things you're passionate about. But again, that starts with self-love, and you need to have self-respect before you can have self-love. And that doesn't mean that we can't want to change and learn and grow. We always want to do that. But it's to give ourselves some grace and to love ourselves as we would love someone else. And then it's to find those people and those things we deeply care about. And to put love into the world. And if we can do that, then we can attempt to move towards empathy. And empathy is that trying to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, see things from someone else's perspective. And I always put that as the last one for me because I feel like it's the ultimate human endeavor. It's the unattainable thing. No matter what we do, we can't truly know what it is to be someone else. We can't truly walk in their shoes or see things from their perspective. But we as human beings have the ability to try, to attempt that. And I think that's what separates us. I think that's what's special about being a person. So to me, that's the ongoing endeavor. And as I do that, then hopefully that feeds back into the first, and I develop a little more courage and a little more integrity. And it's just that kind of cycle feeding into itself. So that's what I want you to think about this week is what are your true values? That's who you really are. And if you have that, that gives you a foundation for all the challenges in life. And I know life is already challenging, and there'll be plenty more challenges to come. But if you're clear about who you are, what you care about, what you believe, everything else gets a lot easier. And it's a lot easier to trim the fat and cut through all the noise and focus on what's really important. Until next time, much love.